And welcome back to Mike AD's
Podcast from Hell.
You just heard there, that was Trivium, with that amazing track, The Calamity. One of my favorite bands, actually, in the last couple years. When I first heard that band in particular, it was, I can't remember what the name of the album was. They had this independent release, Ember to Inferno, and I can't recall what the actual name of that one album was. What they got? But it had like Rain and Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr and things like that. Were like, wow, this band's like, they are fucking heavy. The riffing is thrashy, and they're so freaking young. I think this band had about like 3 major albums under their belts before they were almost 25 years old. But the album from which The Calamity came from was called Shogun. And one of my favorite albums ever. It's like, you know, when you hear a record and wow, like it makes a mark on you almost immediately. And this is one that did just that. And I liked this band when it came out. First couple records I heard from them was like, wow, it was pretty good. Wasn't so much of a big fan of what happened right after this one, where I can't remember, was called The Crusade or something. And they got a little more commercial sounding, and I didn't like the genericness of what happened there. And then afterwards, they decided, okay, we're going to get heavy again. And they did this record called In Waves, which was, you know, it's okay. It didn't like totally blow me away. And then they did this new record. What is the name of this thing? Vengeance Falls. And it's like, they had, what's his name? Dave Draymond. You know, the guy, the fucking Disturbed guy. The guy with the fucking metal in his face. And, you know, I can't say too much bad about him in terms of his lyrical ability. His vocal ability as well. Very impressive singer, one of my favorite singers. But when you're producing a band, hearing Pat Heafy's vocals trying to imitate, you know, Dave Draymond, no, didn't like this album at all. I heard like the first couple tracks on the album. Usually the first couple tracks on an album should be like, boom, and should like grab you like right away and goes like, oh, this is like the way the album is going to be. It sets the tone. And then you hear this and you go, what a fucking letdown this is. It's like, wow, this is not very good at all. Yeah, they tried to be a little more commercial because that's what Disturbed is. Disturbed is a little more commercial sounding, a little catchy sounding. But it's like, I didn't like it at all. But yeah, Shogun kicks serious ass. A great deal of the songs on that record are fucking amazing. So I really recommend listening to that if you haven't already. Downloading or going onto YouTube and listening to Shogun, the album from 2008 from Trivium. So check that shit out. In terms of music again, since I'm talking about music, I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that I've heard recently. The new Danny Filth side project, Devilment, is out. How do I say this without being cruel? Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Some cool songs there, some cool freaking riffs there. I wasn't totally like smashed to the floor, which is like, you know, which I like to be as a metal fan. I'd like to be grabbed from the back of my skull and smashed into a concrete wall. That's the kind of music I want to listen to. Blunt force, fucking attack. You know? It's the kind of music I want to hear. I want to hear is like metal is about I guess metal is about more than just that. But when you hear that Danny Filth has got something, it's like, oh, this could be interesting. And the sound of the band it's not as black metal-y. In fact, there's almost no black metal influence at all. They got the keyboard player in there. They got a female keyboard player there. Keyboard's pretty freaking good on there. They got some guest appearances on the record. Mainly, you really should hear "Beds Are Burning," the cover, the Midnight Oil cover from the early '90s, Australia's Midnight Oil, and I think the cover is worth hearing. "Beds Are Burning," really good, really out of the box kind of stuff. The overall vibe of the record is very, really reminds me of Thornography. It's a totally different kind of, it's a kind of rocks, it's more thrashy sounding as opposed to a lot of the other Cradle of Filth stuff, which is very extreme metal, black metal sounding with symphonic elements. Mainly stuff like Cruelty and the Beast, Vampire, albums like that, total Dusk in Your Embrace, total classics in my opinion. Thornography really took from like records like Nymphetamine, had more kind of groovy, thrashier kind of riffing going on there. Not that I really disliked it. I thought there was some really great shit from Nymphetamine. Really liked it. Yeah, Nymphetamine was okay. Recently they did this Godspeed on the Devil's Thunder. They did like 3 records since that. I guess because there was a little bit of lashback from the fans saying, what the f*** is this? What's this? It's like, honestly, I like the new direction that Cradle of Filth was going. They had some interesting, more conventional pop and rock arrangements to their music, and I think it really served it well. Stuff like I can't remember what the name of the song is. They did this cover, Temptation and Dirty Harry on the vocals. Love that. Just love that. There was quite a few cool songs from Thornography, and you could really tell that's where it was kind of coming from. That Nymphetamine kind of meets the Thornography kind of sound. There's a little bit of an industrial, electronic element there that's in there that makes it sound a little different. The vocal approach isn't always, screamo, kind of like that. It's more of the low vocal growls and things like that. But hey, pretty freaking cool. Pretty cool. Not totally blown away, but, not a bad release. Not a bad release at all. And I really, I didn't hate it, but, didn't suck. So you want to put it in your iPod, there's a few cool songs on there that I recommend. So other than that, heard the new Silosis album, a band from England, a melodic kind of melodicore. That's something that really kills me, is this core suffix bands. How many of these genres do we have? Metallicore, deathcore, fucking penis core, fucking typewriter core. My music is made from a Nintendo core or whatever. But the first album that I heard from this band, Silosis, was called The Conclusion of an Age. And if you listen to this thing from kind of beginning to end, it's one of the strongest releases that you're gonna hear. In the last 5 years or so. I love this record. Try to listen to it. It's called Conclusion of an Age from Silosis. But they put out 2 records recently. Can't remember what the name of the second one was in particular, but they put out this new one. And what is the name of this record? Let me just. The name of it is called The Dormant Heart. And I tell you, I haven't even got through the whole thing. I listen to it and I hear the beginning and going this is the first song on your record? Based on what you've shown me before, I want to hear it. I want to hear what it is that you got. I want to hear the best music possible. And it's oh, here we go. Well, here's again, oh man, it's really slow. This music really slow. Not as aggressive as I was thinking. Not like the typical stalwart of the usual Silosis sound. You know, they have a thrashiness, and there's a lot of melodicism in there, you know. Not everybody likes the vocal. You know, half screamy, half growly. There's a little bit of clean vocal there, but for the most part, the heavier vocal kind of predominates. But it's like listening to it going like, geez, how many songs did I get through? Maybe 3 at the most, and going like, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go to watch some porn, or I'm gonna, you know, it's like, man, this is like not to my standards of Silosis. So that's all I'm gonna say about Silosis, because in general, I do respect bands like Silosis, especially they're a metalcore band from England, which is, you have that kind of new wave British heavy metal influence that is kind of, you know, predominates a lot in that kind of music. But I mean, just the fact that they're from the same country as Iron Maiden, so it's a little different. They got that geographic separation, so there's a little bit of a weeding out of the weak there, and I think that's one of the strongest bands in that genre, period. So, and a lot of the metalcore bands that from America are all starting to sound the fucking same. Like all of them. It's like everyone's copying everybody, and there's a lot of incest going on there with the style, and before you know it, you have like 500 bands that sound the freaking same. I mean, impressive. It's just like the guitar players on the internet. It's the amount of technically proficient players out there is unbelievable, but I just honestly believe that the number of actual good songwriters out there is lacking. And if you want to do anything, learn how to write some songs. Just don't, here's something completely unfucking playable. Not that it would actually be, you know, listenable after the second time. You know, it doesn't have any replayability. Oh, check out that fucking 17 octave arpeggio sweep and like 7/8 time, and you know, with it like going over top. It's just, you know, after a while, it's like, who fucking cares? It's like Dragon Force. After the first track of like 7 minutes of like 280 beats a minute, in you know, listen to these like power metal vocals about fucking dragons going through the fire. After a while, after the third track, I don't care, you know. So as far as that goes, I really haven't heard very much, but as far as the next little while I hear a record, I'll definitely let you know what I think of it. So on to the next section, which is going to be I'm going to talk about some television shows that I've been watching before I get to take a break and get to the next segment, which I'm going to be talking about professional wrestling, because I am, I'm a fan of the homoerotic ballet. So that's what I'm going to get to. But I'm going to be talking about a couple shows that I've been watching, and hoping I don't give you any spoilers, because people hate that shit. There's some people that just like me, don't have all the time in the world to be watching everything because they got jobs and kids and so on. Same here. So you can't always be watching stuff when it comes out. So you got to be kind of selective about what you watch and when you want to watch it. I've got a coworker who hasn't even seen one episode of Game of Thrones, and he says, "Don't say anything, asshole." So I said, "Okay, all right." So I gotta tell him, don't listen to my podcast. But Game of Thrones, yeah. It's Lord of the Rings meets porn. It's great shit. So I'm going to talk about some of the television I've been watching, because you know what? There is some amazing television out there if you got the money to get all the channels. Every single channel now has its own shows. They're even coming up with their own channel so they can like try to produce extra criminal income by trying to force me to watch Independence Day, you know, for fucking $4.99. No way. No, thank you. Anyhow, I've been watching a few shows, and I'll just let you know what I think about some of these shows. One of the shows I'm watching now is Helix, and can't remember what bloody network it's on. Can't bloody remember. But if I can remember, I'll bring it up. Not that it fucking matters. But, you know, Helix. They're on their second season now. And in the first season, there's these scientists from the CDC that get sent up to the Arctic Circle. to this secret government facility. And I guess it's not a government facility, but these guys are the best that they are and trying to figure out what the hell this fucking pandemic is doing up there, and it's killing all the scientists. And with this freaking black shit, that's this virus that turns everyone into a freaking zombie. What is it with these shows on TV these days where every single thing has to be a vampire, a werewolf, a fucking Walking Dead person? Except these people aren't technically dead. They just have some kind of virus that causes them to go fucking crazy and infect other people. How many of these shows can there be? I honestly think that there's got to be some kind of rule set out in television that says the number of shows per capita that we're allowed to have is X. Not every single network gets their own zombie show, because quite honestly, no matter how good some people say that The Walking Dead is, the number of movies that have come out in the last couple years that have to do with dead people, Z Nation, what do we have in the 80s? Like 19 Living Dead movies. We had Resident Evil. Isn't that just a bunch of fucking zombies? Like, I can't remember how many of those movies that they actually made. It's they keep coming up with these like cool little names for the movie, like Resident Evil Ejaculation, Resident Evil fucking unnecessary sequel abomination. Like, I don't understand why they got to keep making movies about something and the plot just doesn't move forward. And with all due respect to Walking Dead, because I know some people that swear on this show, it's like, I am zombied out. I am in the Scorpion Deathlock. I have tapped the fuck out. No more. There's got to be a moratorium on the living dead. Because I'm done. I'm finished. There's got to be some point where just breaking point where the audience says, I think I've had enough of the 100 shows there are about Living Dead. And now there's a spin-off series for the fucking Walking Dead. And a lot of people are saying, oh no, there's only one more year of The Walking Dead, and then it's going to end. Well, good, because honestly, you can't have, like, what is it, like CSI had 3 shows going at the same time? How many shows can there be about people finding dead people and finding out exactly what killed them with the same fucking formula? Oh yeah, now they replaced CSI with this other show. It's called, like, what do they call it? CSI Digital, CSI something. They're trying to solve CSI Cyber or something, and they're trying to solve crimes. Like, there also has to be a moratorium on these procedural shows that find human remains and they're trying to figure out exactly what killed them. I think that every network shouldn't be allowed to have these shows. Can't there be like intellectual property violations on this kind of shit? I don't know. Anyway, this show Helix, I started watching the show last year, and it's like, wow, this is pretty crazy. Some good acting there. What's the guy's name? Billy Campbell's on the show. In the first season, what was his name? Hiroyuki Sanada, great Japanese actor. He was very good. I don't know what happened in the second season. I saw him in one freaking episode. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but he was in the first, the first season. His performance was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed it. You got these freaking scientists running around in the Arctic. They're trapped on this base. There's fucking living dead virus-ridden people running through the fucking ventilation system trying to infect people. And by the time you got to the end, you find out that there's people, and they're also infected with some other virus that makes them fucking immortal. And these immortal people are running the base called the Ilaria Corporation. And at the end of the first one, they blow up the base and they escape. Only in the second season to, like, all magically appear on a tropical island. And guess what? There's more immortal people. There's people that want to be immortal. There's There's people with different viruses. There's immortal people, and there's scientists trying to suppress human reproduction so that we can get some kind of conspiratorial population reduction so that the immortals can rule the world. And every week I'm going, why? Mike, why are you continuing to watch the show? You're getting more confused every week. I honestly, I do enjoy it, but after this zombie show and the other one that I just finished watching, it ended just last year with the second season or the first season? See, that's the problem. I can't even remember how many seasons some of these shows have gone on for. The Strain, another show about vampire zombies trying to, take over the world, and Dracula's real. And don't get me wrong, the production on this show is unbelievable. The acting is pretty freaking good. It's just how much more of these hordes of unliving dead people swarming towards my television set can I take? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this one in particular. So I'll update you on that when the Strain comes back and as episodes of Helix kind of come back. I just started watching this new series that just debuted a couple weeks ago called Dig. It's pretty interesting show because there's no living dead people. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in this show, but the main theme around this whole idea, at least I believe it, because, shows they kind of reveal themselves, slowly over time, just like Lost. But I heard it was an amazing show that just lost steam near the end because it just went too long. So this one show, Dig, kind of takes place in Jerusalem, but not Jerusalem completely. But I'm sorry if I'm going to give up any spoilers, but I'm just trying to be as kind of blanketing as possible without giving away everything. And there's this guy, he works in the consulate, and then there's this other guy that's, he works for the Israeli police, because you're in Jerusalem, of course. There's this ideas of these cults, and they're raising these look like cloned boys that aren't allowed to touch the ground because I guess they want them to be pure. They even killed one of these kids. Even killed the kid. Killed the freaking kid. There's not many episodes on TV where you find out that the kids are getting killed. This kid got freaking shot in the chest in this episode. They killed the kid because his foot touched the ground. And it has a lot to do with his bar mitzvah, Jewish law. There was an American archaeologist killed that was looking for the Ark of the Covenant. There's this Jewish kid who's in Norway, and he's raising cows with hope that they're going to get the red heifer, the red cattle, and it all has to do with the end times in biblical prophecy. And it's cool. It's cool so far, and they got me. So next Wednesday, I believe on Showcase, the third episode. So if you can catch some of this stuff, it's pretty freaking good. You get to see a lot of old Jerusalem. It's lots of subtitles in Hebrew, lots of subtitles in different languages, and kind of interesting to see where this whole Insidious thing goes. As far as some of the shows coming up there that I'm looking forward to, of course, Game of Thrones. I think it's 4 years now, maybe 5. I have no idea how long it's going because they've been going at a 10 to 12 episode pace for the last couple years. So if you want to see about 5 months of space taken and spread over 5,000 hours of television time, if you want to see lots of nudity, if you want to see lots of gross violence, murder, mayhem, like I say, Lord of the Rings with porn, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome television. I wish it would go a little faster, and I hope that he finishes the story before he passes and slips the mortal coil, because that would be a disaster that they couldn't finish this show. So at any point, this show could be going on indefinitely. So it's definitely a show I enjoy on HBO. Looking forward to it. There's this show. There's a couple of these shows on space. This one called Almost Human. has I can't remember what this guy's name is. He was in like the the Vin Diesel thing, and he played that guy. This is horrible. I'm horribly prepared for this. And he was in the Star Trek, and he played Bones. Can't remember what that guy's name is offhand. And he stars in it, and there's Michael Ealy, and he plays the android guy. And he's like he can simulate human emotions. It's one of these procedural cop shows, but the fact that he's working with an android that has, believes that he's emotional, and the kind of the chemistry between the two guys is kind of cool. Really enjoy it. I don't know if the show got canceled. I gotta check to see if the show got canceled, because that's just the way that it is with me. If there's something I like, there's a good chance that not enough people like it, and they're gonna cancel the show just because of me. It's just the way of the universe. The universe loves to twist itself to fuck me over. So they cancel the shows that I like. Like, I like this show called Jericho, where this whole idea, one day, out of the blue, when the prodigal son returns from the military, all these nuclear bombs go off, and no one knows what the fuck is going on, and there's nobody in control, so somebody has to take control and reestablish the republic. It was a cool show. Got canceled after the first season. There was this whole ridiculous campaign, which I signed, by the way, and they brought back the show for a couple episodes. I heard that there was the chance that they were gonna bring it back as another short, mini-series. There's a chance that they were gonna try to make a movie to sum up everything, but I haven't heard anything, so it's probably in what they call film limbo, which could mean never gonna happen. So, I'll just leave it at that. I got the DVDs to remind myself of what a nerd I am for that show. Another show that they canceled, but they canceled it right on time, Fringe. But honestly, they didn't cancel that show fast enough. First couple seasons, hooked me big time. Third season, pretty damn good. Last two seasons, treading water, trying to come up with reasons to continue a show, just like Lost. They should have found a way to get this thing totally written and gone. I believe that there is a certain length that a show should go, after which the show should go the way of the dodo, and there's a natural progression to a show and how long it should last. And some people, due to money or due to contractual obligations, shows go longer than they ought to. I think a lot of shows go almost about 40% longer than they ought to, and they just jump the shark at some point. And Fringe, at some point, I didn't get it. I wasn't entertained as much. If you want to see a really freaking cool alternative, Outer Limits, Twilight Zone-ish, with fucked up technology going on there, cool elements to a show, watch the first 2 to 3 seasons of Fringe. Science fiction, fucked up show. Really cool. Enjoyed it very much. There was this show called The Lottery, which it's got a cool concept whereby which there's this human fertility crisis, and somewhere out of the blue, some scientist in some lab manages to fertilize like 100 embryos, and somebody finds out about it, and the government takes over. And this whole idea of making this competition and putting women in these prospective mothers and trying to find the right mothers that are supposed to be the future mothers, and then they put them all they want to put them in an internment camp, and the military wants to take it over. We'll see if this show jumps the shark in the second season. It's there's definitely a lot of filming I noticed in Montreal area and Vancouver and so on. So we'll see what happens with that show and see if it jumps the shark too. But it could easily be one of the shows that I like that could be canceled. Another show that I saw, which I really enjoyed, was the first season, the first 6 episodes of the miniseries Ascension, which I think you ought to see. Pretty fucked up when you see what's going on this show, because there's a spaceship, the generational ship, that's on its way to Proxima Centauri, some star system, and it takes about 100 years to get there. Guess what? Human beings only live a certain amount of time. So there's people that have been born and died on this ship, and everyone is caught in a 1960s time warp because this show takes place in the 60s when they believed that the Cuban Missile Crisis would result in the extinction of the human race. So it's the whole Kennedy's idea that they should put a spaceship into space. I don't know where they got this fucking technology, but when you see it at the end, you realize, to see if it's possible or not to do it. And then there's a murder on the ship, and someone has to deal with it. And it's pretty good. If they're planning on continuing this thing, I'm really interested in seeing it. But, there's only so much freaking time that I have on my hands. There's like, how many shows did I discuss? And I'm glad that TV these days is not just, September until April, like school, and all summer is reruns. No, doesn't exist anymore. And I'm glad that some of these shows, they run in the summer, and some of these series they run in the fall, and then some of these things they run throughout the winter. It's a great thing. Honestly, I think it's a great thing, but unfortunately, you never fucking go outside, and we blame our kids for not having any social life, for playing too many video games, and then I got my fucking PDR, and the freaking thing is full, and it's all full of shows that I haven't had a chance to watch yet. So, TV, it's the great freaking cocaine of our generation. It's ridiculous. But it's up to me to report to you what I like, and it's up to you to say fuck you. So with that, I'm going to play some more heavy music, and I'll be back with my my weekly wrestling report on the Mike AD podcast from hell.